Hi, I'm Tom Ingram and you're listening to Downforce Radio.
Hi, I'm Jacques Villeneuve, you're listening to Downforce Radio.
Hi, I'm Bruno Senna, you're listening to Downforce Radio.
Hi, I'm Chris Hoy and you're listening to Downforce Radio.
Hi, I'm Landon Norris and you're listening to Downforce Radio.
Well, we have gone back into the action twice now for Junior TKM. After 2 red flags, it has been declared as a result in the Junior TKM Final 1. So Abby Pulling is the victor from Connor Kearney, with Aston Wigley in front of Archie Strong, Jack Nicholson and Morgan Kidd in the top 6. From Zach Taylor, Dan Butterworth, Zach Oates and Oliver Stratford. Then it is Dan McKeown in front of Alex Page, Ben Watson, Jensen Davis, Scott Smith, Harry Yardley-Rose, Ben Higgins, Oliver Richardson, Dominic Kilmister and Harry Arthur rounding out the top 20. And then, of course, it will be Will Orton, Ethan Newsham, Spencer Stevenson down in 23rd, and then Joe Harrison, Max Davies and Louis Harvey, who didn't take up the second start. Joe Harrison receiving some medical attention, and we think potentially the 2 drivers involved in the previous incident as well doing so as well. But we've got no news on that one, so we can't update you on any developments. And it means that Abby Pulling now takes a 31-point lead in the Drivers' Championship in the Junior TKM over Dan Butterworth, and they are 20 points ahead of Connor Kearney. So Abby Pulling's position at the lead of the championship looks pretty strong at this point in proceedings, and we're going to end the morning session with the TKM Extreme Final 1. And they are lighting up on the grid, on the dummy grid at this moment in time. So we'll talk you through the grid order as they prepare for their first race of the day. Sam Fowler and Joseph Reeves-Smith on the front row of the grid from Chris Whitton and Ryan Cole. Max Goldsmith and Christian Briley on the third row from Louis Bevan and Rob Wellham. Harry Moore and Josh Sheriff in the top 10 there from James Pashley and Ross Deal. Adam Sparrow, championship leader coming into this round, is there on the 7th row of the grid along with Pete Newman. Then Zach Bowen and Carl Sproat. Lewis Wadley and Gavin Pitt. Austin Monday and Mitchell Ball. Sam Johns, Lee Whittingham a long way down there in 22nd on the grid. James Whittaker and Joe Fowler even further back in 24th. And then we have Owain Rosser, Matthew Ayres, Reese Cullen-Jones, Joe Stockford, Colin Morris, Theo Hesketh, John Hogan, Nathan Wells, Matthew Horton and Jack Darton. That's your grid for the TKM Extreme Final 1. And, of course, that includes the 6 drivers who came through from the repechage. In the order of their repechage result, Colin Morris was the winner of it from Theo Hesketh, John Hogan, Nathan Wells, Matthew Horton and Jack Darton. And they now join up the back of the grid for the Final 1 of TKM Extreme in the A finals. These 2 races, of course, for big championship points. And the man who looks like he's taking things very, very well indeed this weekend is Sam Fowler, who is making big gains in the championship on his teammate Joe Fowler. And it looks as though the pendulum is going to swing in his direction this particular weekend. But Joseph Reeves-Smith's been very strong all weekend as well. And the drivers are obviously getting a little bit of a talking to from Ken Potter, the clerk of the course. We've just had 2 red flags from the Junior TKM Final 1. So the race was called and declared as a result after what was just 5 minutes of racing in total. So unfortunately, that race is now not going to rerun. It's been declared as a result. And I'm not sure, actually, if that means that reduced points are going to be handed out in the championship as well, because we didn't even get quite to half distance. It might be a bit of a ruling on that one, but for the moment, at least, it is as it is. And the drivers will obviously have to continue on in Junior TKM later, hopefully without a red flag. But the gate goes up and the green flag flies for TKM Extreme, and the drivers head out on track for their rolling lap. Sam Fowler and Joseph Reeves-Smith from the front row, from Whitton and Cole, Goldsmith and Briley, Bevan and Wellham, Moore and Sheriff, Pashley and Deal, Sparrow and Newman, Bowen and Sproat, Wadley and Pitt, Monday, Ball, Johns and Whittingham, James Whittaker and Joe Fowler, Rosser, Ayres, Cullen-Jones and Stockford, Morris, Hesketh, Hogan, Wells, Horton and Darton. This is going to be a very interesting battle, as coming into this race, currently Adam Sparrow leads the championship with a 579 point tally, which is 33 points ahead of Joe Fowler, with Sam Fowler's performance yesterday moving him just 2 points off the back of him. But with Sparrow down the order, there's a good chance that Sam Fowler can make some big inroads into his championship advantage in this one race alone. Joe Fowler really struggling. Sam Fowler coping very well with Shenington. So this championship is going to turn on the dial as we get things underway. So the drivers are going to raise the revs, and we're going to go racing once again as they come off the final turn. The revs rise, and is this going to be a clean start? Yes, it is, and off we go straight away. And a cracking getaway from the front of the field from Sam Fowler. Through into second place immediately comes Whitton as they charge their way forward through the first hairpin. And the field is already sweeping through as they go down towards the Stratford hairpin for the first time. Chris Whitton making a cracking getaway and up into second position early doors. So a really exciting start to proceedings here at Shenington Kart Racing Club. Down to the hairpin and then through to Bruno Chicane. And there's a big tussle for positions further back, as that looks like a very fast-moving Harry Moore trying to work his way through the field and gets into the top 6, I think. So he's battling his way forward and certainly making good progress in the early stages of proceedings. So the drivers continuing to battle and jostle for position as they come over the line once again into that first corner. Through Park Bend, up towards Cafe, and Witten is on the back of the race leader, Sam Fowler. Joseph Reeves-Smith in third. Then it is Goldsmith from Bevan, Moore, Cole, Wellham, Briley, Sheriff, Pashley, Deal, Newman and Monday. Austin Monday making up 5 places already from Bowen and Wadley. Gavin Pitt, Carl Sproat, James Whittaker and Samuel Johns. Some moves through the field for Joe Stockford. He's made up 5 places already. So a few drivers there trying to make up some ground in the early stages, but not everybody is making those moves yet. Some are losing places while others are gaining. So the drivers continuing to push on in performance now. So the TKM Extreme final pushing on here. Final number 1, of course, out of the 2 finals we have today. Sam Fowler in front of Chris Witten. They make their way through the left-hander at Park into Cafe. And Joseph Reeves-Smith still hangs on to this 3rd position. Meanwhile, the E-plate has made a move there. That is Pete Newman on James Pashley. And I think that's put him through into the next position. So no problems at all there for Pete Newman as he makes his move. Warning flag goes out on that first lap to Max Goldsmith. So the 66 has clearly been given a quick telling off and a quick slap on the wrist for something out there. Didn't see what it was personally, so I'm not entirely sure what we're meant to be looking at on that particular one. So the battle continues as the drivers come onto the far side of the circuit. And now they come back onto the home straight. Across the start-finish line come our leaders, Fowler and Witten, still duking away for position. 3rd place, Reeves-Smith. 4th is Goldsmith. 5th place is the 28 once again. So off the turn, no problems for Louis Bevan there in P5. Chris Witten apparently having some transponder issues, but he's there with Sam Fowler as they battle away for position still out in front. Joseph Reeves-Smith in 3rd place from Max Goldsmith. Fastest lap of the race comes from Zach Bowen, who is there in 12th position at the moment. So some great racing still to come as the drivers continue to hustle around the circuit, but the leading 2 are getting away. Goldsmith is trying to stay with Joseph Reeves-Smith as they try to battle their way further forward, but it's still very close. Continue to fight forward, Sam Fowler and Chris Witten. They come through the final couple of corners and then into a new lap. Through Cafe Corner. Fowler and Witten out in front. And still they come through for 3rd and 4th position. Joseph Reeves-Smith and Max Goldsmith putting on a very hard performance in the early stages of proceedings, trying to make up this ground. You can tell that these drivers are obviously going to continue keeping this sort of pace up. They come into Bruno Chicane once more. Some great racing at the front end. And you can really sense that this sort of battling is going to continue unabated. The drivers giving it absolutely bags of confidence in the early stages of this one. As the drivers continue to come through. Is that Witten through into the lead? Not yet. Sam Fowler still keeping control of the pace of this race at the moment. But Goldsmith is working with Joseph Reeves-Smith to get down the gap. Meanwhile, Harry Moore has caught onto the back of Ryan Cole. And it looks to me as though there's been an incident further back with Owain Rosser and Colin Morris. So Morris has fallen back, but where is Owain Rosser? I think he's out of the race. So no Owain Rosser. There's a yellow flag down at Wilkins at the hairpin. So it's stationary yellow now, so I think that is Owain Rosser out of the race. And that is a real shame. So I think it's all done and dusted there for Rosser, sadly. Of Sam Fowler and Chris Witten, it is still a very close battle for the victory out in front, and Chris Witten giving Sam Fowler all sorts of pressure with Joseph Reeves-Smith hanging on from Max Goldsmith. Bevan is there in 5th place. Cole has still got Harry Moore all over the back of him from Pete Newman. Then it is the 20 of Josh Sheriff hanging on there from Christian Briley. Zach Bowen in the 11th from Rob Wellham. Then it's Pashley, Deal, Monday, Pitt, Sproat, Johns, Whittingham, Ball, Stockford, Wadley, Hesketh, Joe Fowler. Then Whittaker and Adam Sparrow way down in 26th position. So considering that Sparrow is all that way down the order, Sam Fowler's looking for the victory, and that would take what was a massive gap in the championship down to just 7 points. So Sam Fowler is looking very much to take control of the championship lead if he can keep this sort of pace up. But Chris Whitten is definitely going to be challenging him for supremacy. And Whitten wants to move into third place in the Drivers' Championship. If it stays like this, he'll only be 9 points off the back of Sam Fowler in second place. So the championship could be about to be blown wide open. There is Adam Sparrow, really struggling in this race. Down in 25th, just doesn't have any pace at all this weekend. And it's a real shock to see the championship leader outside the top 20. Oh, and a big tank snapper in the middle of the corner there for the 27, I think that was, of Samuel Johns, trying to make an overtake. Didn't quite work out for the Welshman, but he managed to get the rhythm of the kart back again without losing too much time. So Fowler and Whitten still battle away for position. 5 minutes and 51 plus the additional lap still left on the clock. Do not count out Reeves Smith and Goldsmith. They are third and fourth and still battling away. As a nice move up the inside there from the 11 to dive up the inside and make up a position. Now that is Ross Steele trying to move his way further forward. He didn't transpond for whatever reason, but Ross Steele has made a good overtaking move there on James Pashley, I think it was, to move up a position. Couple of drivers still battling away for position, but Ross Steele apparently not transponding in the 11, but still going strong. Oh, and into the pits comes the 41, that's Colin Morris. So Colin Morris, the winner of the repechage earlier on, sadly out of the race. Now Ross Steele has just come through and made an overtaking move on that last lap, but for some reason he's not transponding. So let's have a look again and see. Yes, he's in there behind the 14. So the 11 of Ross Steele is currently in 15th position behind Gavin Pitt, but for some reason he's not showing as running in the race. So that's a very strange position there for Ross Steele. He is still going. He's not out of the race, according to what the timing screen says. He is there, tucked up behind Gavin Pitt in the 14 kart. So I'm sure that's going to be corrected sooner rather than later, but the only two retirements we have now are Rosser and Colin Morris. Ross Steele still battling in position and is still trying to move up the order as he now battles with Gavin Pitt. But it's Sam Fowler and Chris Whitten who were leading, and now they've got a very small gap to the guys behind in third and fourth. Joseph Reeves-Smith and Max Goldsmith. So now it's a four-kart battle for the victory. Now Adam Sparrow has caught up to the back of Matthew Horton as he tries to work his way through. So Ross Steele is now showing us circulating, but a lap down. Well, that is possible, I suppose. I'm not sure whether has he got into an incident with somebody and that's him in the middle of the pack trying to make up progress. I'm not sure, actually. Now he's in position again, battling with Gavin Pitt and Austin Monday. So a bit of a weird one there for Ross Steele, but fortunately all is corrected and well again. But the top four still nose to tail. Bevan's still there in fifth position. And then we've got Harry Moore and the E-Plate Pete Newman on the back of Ryan Cole. Ross Steele is back into his line again as they battle away, and still Adam Sparrow is having a nightmare race here as he struggles to deal with the 73 of John Hogan. In fact, he's slipped back to 29th place now. So Adam Sparrow is set to lose a massive chunk of his advantage in the championship. And if it finishes like this, Sam Fowler would be just 4 points behind him in the Drivers' Championship. That's what's resting on this race. So Sam Fowler continues to lead, and now he's got a bit of a gap between himself and Joseph Reeves-Smith in second place now. Now that is important because Chris Whitten is not going to be as close to him in the championship points mark as he wants to be. The gap would go up from 9 points to 11 points from between the second and third place men. But Adam Sparrow is really struggling here to keep up with John Hogan even in 27th position, 28th position, no, 29th, sorry, Adam Sparrow. This has definitely not been a race to remember for him. As the leaders continue on, Sam Fowler with 0.4 of a second on the leaders as they come out of Wilkins and back onto the Park Straight. So Sam Fowler looking good for the victory in final one. Reeves-Smith second. Goldsmith's now up to third as well. He's made the move on Whitten. That just makes Sam Fowler's day even better because the gap between them would now be 13 points, not 11 points in their battle for second and third in the standings. Louis Bevan, meanwhile, is going to close up on Joe Fowler, who's going to drop to fifth position in the standings at this point. And he was in second place at one point, let's not forget. So Briley's going to remain in 4th place, but both Sam Fowler and Chris Whitten are going to move up. So really interesting phase of the championship fight this, but Joe Fowler is looking likely to slip back into what is going to be 5th position in the standings. He's currently 23rd, while his teammate Sam Fowler is leading the way and looking to be only 4 points back from the championship leader, Adam Sparrow. So they come through Cafe Corner once again, the top 5, Fowler, Reeve-Smith, Goldsmith, Whitten and Bevan. Then it's Pete Newman from Ryan Cole, Harry Moore, Christian Briley, Zach Bowen, Rob Wellham, Gavin Pitt and Lee Whittingham. Josh Sheriff trying to catch up to the leading rookie Zach Bowen to take that place off him. The leading privateer is the E-plate Pete Newman. So all looking good for the moment as the drivers come through once again. Up for the far side, in through the hairpin. And this is where the drivers are really going to start to get a little bit more speed out of the karts. They will get a lot more from the turn as they come off into the first corner once again. And Sparrow still in charge. The final couple of laps of the race now. Into the penultimate lap comes Sam Fowler with Joseph Reeve-Smith in 2nd. Then Goldsmith hanging on from Louis Bevan. Chris Whitten slipped to 5th position. And that's a big problem for the 26 of... 26 losing a lot of places there. Sadly, that looks to me like Kyle Sproat has lost ground to James Pashley. Adam Sparrow's getting back on with this now, up to 28th. Well, that's going to buy him another point. So the gap will go up from 4 points to 5 points for the championship lead. So Sparrow could really do with as many positions he can gain as possible in these last lap and a half. But out of the final turn and onto the main straight comes your leader, Sam Fowler, who's got Joseph Reeve-Smith reading him in all of a sudden. And now we've got the last lap here at Shenington for the first final of the day for TKM Extreme. Is this going to go down to the wire between Joseph Reeve-Smith and Sam Fowler, or has the leader done enough to hang on? And there's a great tussle further back as Josh Sheriff mixes it up with the 19.9 of Austin Monday. The two rookies now battling away for the honour of top rookie, but they've got a bit of a way to go to catch up with Zach Bowen on the final lap as down the straight. This is going to be an interesting run. At the Bruner chicane, there's a few good battles and some good overtaking manoeuvres as the drivers fight their way forward. But is Joseph Reeve-Smith going to get the lead here in the final turn? I think it's going to be okay for Sam Fowler, but it's going to come down to the line. Sam Fowler gets there by 0.12. Sam Fowler takes the victory. And that's a very big sigh of relief for Sam Fowler. He'll be delighted with that result. So a terrific result then for Sam Fowler, who gets the victory. 2nd place for Joseph Reeve-Smith, 3rd for Goldsmith, 4th for Bevan, 5th is Whitten from Newman, Ryan Cole, Harry Moore, Christian Briley and Zach Bowen, with Rob Wellham in 11th place from Lee Whittingham and Gavin Pitt, Austin Monday and Ross Deal, Joe Stockford and Carl Sproat, Josh Sheriff and Theo Hesketh, James Pashley, Samuel Johns, Joe Fowler, Mitchell Ball, Lewis Wadley, Matthew Horton, John Hogan, Jack Darton, Adam Sparrow, only 28th, Nathan Wells, Reese Cullen-Jones, Matthew Ayres and James Whittaker, with retirement sadly from Colin Morris and Owain Rosser. And that means that the championship lead in TKM Extreme is a mere 5 points. All of a sudden, the championship fight is cooking up. We've got a lunch break now before we get into the main event, final 2, and the televised final with TDI Media filming all of the occasion for YouTube. It's going to be an absolutely fantastic final race in every single class. Plenty of stars to keep an eye on and lots of intrigue still to come here at Shenington for the Tuto Money Super 1 British Karting Championships.
Hi, I'm Tom Ingham and you're listening to Downforce Radio.
Hi, I'm Jacques Villeneuve. You're listening to Downforce Radio.
Hi, I'm Bruno Senna. You're listening to Downforce Radio.
Hi, I'm Chris Hoy, and you're listening to Downforce Radio.
Hi, I'm Landon Norris, and you're listening to Downforce Radio.